When did family game night end in psychological trauma? My dad is the most competitive person I've ever met, but not in the way you're thinking, because it was only directed towards me. I remember being 10 and playing Uno together for the first time. He told me he would go easy on me, so I did my best to impress him. But when I was at just one card and he had 3, the entire vibe of the room shifted. I could literally see beads of sweat dripping down his forehead, and unfortunately, I won. I expected him to congratulate me, or at least just tell me he had fun. But no, instead, he picked up the deck of cards and threw them against the wall. "Go clean them up," he barked, before slamming his bedroom at full force. He didn't speak to me for the rest of the week, and even missed my school talent show. From there, I swore to myself that I'd never play another game. But a year later, he and his friends were in the living room playing Connect 4. From my eavesdropping, I could hear him losing. So when I walked in, I expected his face to be red with anger. Instead, he was smiling super wide. I thought all the competitive BS was in the past. So when he asked me to join in, I agreed. Everything was all fun and games until we got to the last chips. The grid was almost filled out. I could see his teeth grinding against each other. Now, you're probably wondering why I didn't just let him win. And halfway through the game, when I realized he was terrible, I tried to. But he immediately noticed and asked me to follow him upstairs. There, he didn't say anything, just clenched his fists really hard and glared at me. "I know what you're doing. Don't even effing think about it." I gulped, and we went back downstairs to continue playing. Adrenaline pumped through my veins when I won. He told his friends to get out. "Who the F do you think you are?" He screamed so loudly that I thought the windows were about to crack. And if you've ever been part of an abusive family before, then you understand exactly what I'm about to describe. The entire house was tense. It was the kind of silence that only comes before violence. My dad raised his hand to strike my skull, but I guess the pleading look of desperation in my eyes was enough to stop him, because he managed to stop himself and gulp down a bottle of beer from the fridge. I tried to convince myself that it was over, that he had finally snapped out of it, until I came home with a report card of all A's. I ran home as fast as I could to tell my dad. I pictured him giving me this huge hug and telling me how much he loved me, until reality slapped me in the face. "Did you cheat?" was the first thing he asked. "No, Dad, Did you sleep with your teacher?" By this point, I was so shocked that I couldn't even breathe, let alone respond. When I went to bed that night, I never woke up. For school, that is. You see, usually my dad wakes me up at 7:30 a.m., but this time he didn't. And turns out he didn't go to work either, because when I went downstairs, he was sitting on the couch making phone calls. "Dad, why didn't you wake me up in time for school?" I said, voice shaking. "Son, you're not going to school anymore. I'm homeschooling you." Well, 11-year-old me assumed that it was because my dad wanted to spend more quality time with me. Yay, thank you, Daddy," I screamed, before hugging him as tight as I could. Boy, was I wrong, because my dad's school only had one rule. I wasn't allowed to learn anything. He spent the first 2 weeks entertaining me with Disney movies and barbecues. By the time we were on our 20th rewatch of The Lion King, I actually got sick of it. "Dad, when do we get to, do real school stuff?" My tone was sheepish, filled with fear. "Why? So you can get smarter than me and start thinking you're better? Be effing grateful for once." I think deep down, I always knew what he was doing was wrong, but I pushed it away because I never wanted to make my dad upset. So by the time I was 16, I had the reading level of a 5th grader, and my only skill was surviving a narcissistic emotional abuser. I did try to secretly learn when I thought my dad was looking, and for a while it worked. But one night when he came home from work, he bashed me over the head 13 times. Turns out he had put a camera in my room, and each hit represented a page I had read in secret. Naturally, I moved out the day I turned 18. I didn't really know how the outside world worked, so I got rejected by dozens of strangers until the local church agreed to let me in. The pastor was generous, the type of man to give you a feast when you ask for a slice of bread. Unfortunately, he gave me so much love and reassurance that it made me realize just how psychotic my dad really was. So I decided to expose my dad online and let the internet deal with him. I included everything: the educational abuse, the violence, the dramatics, and of course, his psychotic competitiveness. By the time I hit post, tears were streaming down my face. And when I turned on my phone an hour later, I finally learned why people always say, "Be careful what you post online," because it went viral to all the wrong people. Full story on channel, link below.